this is Laura from LiveVisions.com. I'm just here to give you a video on the moon signs and the moon and the signs and what they mean. And what does the moon represent? The moon is your emotions and how you display those emotions. And the sign that is in really gives you an indication of how someone handles their emotions. And in both men and women, the moon represents your mother. In a man's chart, it represents your future spouse, the kind of person they are. And it also represents the man's greatest need. So, the moon in Capricorn, what does that mean? Well, that means that it's very hard for you. Emotions are very difficult. You probably grew up in a more colder home. Your mother could have been a little bit more cold to you. You may find that she was strict or maybe unemotional to you, and that emotions were really not really something that you felt or that your parents felt were really important, because you were sort of taught at a young age to hide your emotions. Like, we don't wish to hear that, or it doesn't matter what you think, this is what you're doing. Your parent could have been very strict, with you. And you could have been taught at a young age that you kind of had to suck it up. So a moon in Cancer is, like I said, very hard, because as an adult it's hard for you to express how you're feeling, and it is one of the most uncomfortable places for the moon, because the moon is all about expressing itself, and the moon is most comfortable in Cancer. So its opposite sign is Capricorn. So it's really, in detriment in, in Capricorn. It's not comfortable here in the way that you probably don't feel comfortable expressing how you feel. When somebody's overly emotional, you don't know what to do, and it makes you so uncomfortable. If somebody were to ask you direct questions, let's say somebody was really into their feelings and was like, well, this is what I feel about you. What do you feel about me? You may just want to crawl under a rock or walk out of the room and just feel very, that may make you feel a little ambushed, because you probably weren't brought up with people who were that direct with their feelings and their emotions. So you probably may have felt a little awkward in that regard. So I would say that you might feel good with nurturing partners, but if you have an overly emotional partner, you're going to feel very uncomfortable. I want to say too that people who have their moon in other earth signs are probably really comfortable to you, even though you may be attracted to a partner whose moon is in a water sign like Cancer. But when they get really emotional and needy is when you might pull back and feel weird. You like the good stuff though, when they're doting on you and loving you, that's great. But when they're more like, well, I need this from you, because it's hard for you to express your emotion. You feel very locked in. So you may appear cold to some people. You may appear, this person doesn't care. And, they say that professions for moon in Cancer type of person, not that you don't feel, because you do, but they say a profession would be good, like at HR, because you're good at seeing the bottom line of things, and you don't let emotions get in the way of decisions, because let's face it, you grew up learning to push those emotions aside, So, and it doesn't mean that you don't have them. You do. It's just hard for you to express them, I want to say also, people with moon in Capricorn, you're, like I said, you're most comfortable with people who aren't so emotional or overly emotional, or you can be very detached. And when it comes to, one thing with the moon in Capricorn, these type of people are really good. They can separate sex from emotion. Some people, women usually combine sex with emotion, and men are really good at compartmentalizing this. Well, if you meet a woman who's Capricorn, who is moon in Capricorn, she's very good at separating sex from emotion herself. So she could be very attached emotionally, even though she's female and people say, oh, they're so emotional. This one wouldn't be as emotional, you know? And if you have this in the 12th house, it's even more so, because then the moon is really locked away. Then you really can't express yourself, you know? So this can be very trying. And I want to say that the home life growing up could have been very hard. Mother was really strict, very maybe emotionally unavailable, or just very hard and cold. And this is what you learned. And so growing up, you just not really in tune with your emotions, or you were taught to, like I said, push them away. But this is my synopsis of Moon in Capricorn. I wish I had other stuff to say about this sign. Not that it's a bad sign, it's just you got it hard. You really do, because it's not an easy sign to really grapple with, because it's almost like your feelings are locked away and you don't feel comfortable. Like, you feel very exposed, you know. Capricorn likes to be in charge and control, and, you know, very serious, you know. Oh, I will say, you're very serious about your feelings, you know. You're probably, you know, mean what you say and say what you mean. So I would say you're a very serious person, you know. But anyway, this was my synopsis of a moon in Capricorn. If you would like to leave a comment, please do. Like, dislike, suggestions, whatever. Please subscribe to the page if you would like to see more videos. And if you would like to take future classes, I'm having a basics class and an aspects class coming up. So click the link below if you'd like to sign up. Anyway, this was my synopsis of Moon in Capricorn, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.